Ms. Jayapal from Washington for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here, Ms. Lake. The U.S. Agency for Global Media is tasked with providing unbiased news worldwide to over 427 million listeners, many of whom live in countries without freedom of press or freedom of the speech. And it is your job to promote the American ideals of freedom and democracy. So I wanted to start just by confirming, do you support democracy or authoritarianism?
I think that's pretty obvious. I support freedom and democracy.
Democracy. Great. Would you agree that accepting the results of a fair and free election are critical to a functioning democracy?
Would you agree that standing up and cheering for a cancer survivor would have been the nice thing to do?
Ms. Lake, this is my time.
Okay.
Would you accept that accepting the results of a free and fair election are critical to a functioning democracy? It's a yes or no question. Do you think it's essential for democracy to have a free and fair election?
We need free and fair elections.
Free and fair elections, great. Thank you so much. And yet, you have, to this day, refused to acknowledge that President Trump lost the 2020 election, something that even members of President Trump's own Justice Department have admitted and multiple lawsuits have shown. And we heard my colleague from Arizona talk about what happened in Arizona. So it concerns me that you are now tasked with this responsibility of ensuring democracy around the world when you won't even accept a free and fair election. I'm also concerned by your ability to promote the American ideals of freedom and democracy, given your record defending and praising dictators. Let's look at Hungary. You previously stated that Hungary is, quote, doing it right, and that Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban was, quote, the greatest in America, greatest in caps, and, quote, and equal to President Trump. Do you stand by those statements?
I think that Viktor Orban has done a very good job at protecting his people and protecting the Hungarian culture.
And so,
I think
Ms. Lake,
if you ask people in Europe, other parts of Europe,
the question here is very simple.
They would be wishing that their leaders stood up for their people. Is
Viktor Orban the greatest in Europe? Yes or no?
I think he's done the best job in Europe, yes.
Okay, and so even Secretary Rubio acknowledged in a 2019 letter that under Orban, Hungary took a downward democratic trajectory, and yet you insist that Hungary is doing it right. I want to cover some of the policies that Mr. Orban is responsible for. Would you consider banning LGBTQ pride parades like Viktor Orban has done in Hungary as doing it right, recognizing that pride parades are protected under the First Amendment?
What does this have to do with the U.S. Agency for Global Media?
I'm asking you whether you support the policies of dictators and authoritarians or whether you support democracy. You have said that Viktor Orban is the greatest in Europe. So do you think that Viktor Orban is doing it right when he bans pride parades?
I think Viktor Orban has put the people of his country first.
So the answer is yes, you think it's appropriate that he's banning pride parades and using facial recognition technology to actually profile people that go to those parades? How about the fact that Orban and his party control 80% of Hungary's media market?
Are we here talking about Hungary?
Yes, we are, because guess what? Your agency actually is responsible for other countries
Hungary
and
is
unbiased
an ally. Can
news.
I remind you that Hungary is an ally of America?
Oh, and so you think that it's okay that Viktor Orban, the greatest in Europe, according to you, controls 80% of Hungary's media market? Is that level free and fair reporting?
I don't. You obviously don't like our ally Hungary. I think that
I'm asking you if you
and the
think
people of
that
Hungary
it's
will decide.
appropriate. Ms. Lake, it is my time. I'm asking you if it is appropriate that a country, Viktor Orban's government, controls 80% of Hungary's media market. It's just a yes or a no. Do you think that's okay? Think he's the greatest of all time?
I don't have an opinion on what Viktor Orban is doing in Hungary.
It's not up for debate. It's a
he
fact that has been documented by numerous organizations. Now, not only have you supported, excuse me, Ms. Lake, I'm sorry to remind you, you are not a governor. You're not even a candidate for governor. You're here, and this is my time. Not only have you supported dictators that have supported policies that erode democracy, you also spread claims promoted by Russian state media that the Pentagon was funding funding bioweapon labs in Ukraine. These claims have been proven resoundingly false, even by Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Do you still stand by that prior statement, Ms. Lake?
I know that many members of Congress care more about funding
Do you
Ukraine
stand
than
by that statement,
order?
which is clearly a lie?
I know that you
are
voted.
responsible for an agency that is supposed to promote truth, and yet, over and over again, you are promoting dictators and authoritarians and lies. So I am asking you if you stand by the statement that you made that was promoted by Russian state media that the Pentagon was funding bioweapon labs in Ukraine. Proven false by Marco Rubio. Do you stand by that
I
statement?
understand you're trying to get a fundraising video here.
Okay,
So
well,
let me
you
help
clearly
make-
don't
let me
understand that
reminding
you are
the
actually
time
here
has
before,
expired.
before
Your time
Congress. Mr.
expired, Ms.
Chairman, I
Jayapal.
just want to say
you had
that
more than enough time. I gave you a few extra
I
seconds, and
understand,
your time
and
has expired.
unfortunately,
and I now recognize Representative
Ms. Lake
Davidson.
is not responding
Can
to
I
the
have
questions.
just 1 second to respond? Because who is going to be speaking next?
Representative Davidson is next.
Oh, may I have just 1 second to respond to that? Obviously, from some of the questions we're hearing from the Democrats, they care more about a lot of other
Madam
countries
Chairman,
than America.
I appreciate the
And
opportunity,
we've seen
Ms. Lake. So I want to address a couple things that was just recently said. Representative Burchett was trying to imply with his questioning of you that it's just Voice of America is a relic. I just looked it up, and 354 million people listen to it every week. So I would hardly qualify or classify that as a relic.
those
And-
are government numbers, and I
so-
don't trust those numbers.
Well, that's a sad state of affairs when you don't trust the government that you're representing and that you're working for and an agency that you're in charge of. That's a pathetic statement to tell the American people that you don't trust the government that you're leading. So next,
And most American
this is
people
my
don't
time,
trust
ma'am.
this government.
This is my time. And so, and Representative Kim, I share your concerns. I was comforted to hear that she expressed concerns to you that, quote, I wrote it down, she worries about the U.S. ability to win the information war going forward. And I share that concern. I'm very concerned that we are ceding ground. In her own statement, she said that the Voice of America is vital in contradicting the CCP China propaganda, and I
But
completely
it's
concur
sharing
with her.
CCP propaganda.
So, no, we are countering their propaganda. So I have some questions. You know, I just want to make sure that I have the record correct and I have your statements correct. You have called the Voice of America anti-American propaganda, correct? And I think you're implying that today. Is that right?
They have put forth propaganda from other countries. Sadly, I'm very sad about that.
And you do consider Voice of America to be a biased agency, is that correct?
They have been, yes.
And you agree that the characterization of Voice of America's track record is unsalvageable and appalling, is that correct?
Pardon me?
You think that the Voice of America's track record is unsalvageable, correct?
I think that this agency, U.S. Agency for Global Media, is unsalvageable, that we can pull parts that are decent and we could work with, and that would be VOA.
Yeah, and
we
the
bring it
thing
in.
that's so stunning is that this is an exact set of messaging put out by the Chinese. That VOA is a frontline propaganda tool. VOA is widely recognized as Washington's carefully crafted propaganda machine. This is Chinese propaganda that you are
you're right.
restating as
VOA
an
is
American
putting out
official.
Chinese
No,
propaganda.
excuse me, but that is absolutely outrageous. That what is happening now is that the Trump administration has gone from 71 employees to 2. 71 to 2 of the people running Voice of America in China.
That's
and
not
now
true.
we have a situation
That's
where
not
you
true.
are essentially parroting the Chinese propaganda. It's for the dismantling of Voice of America. So what do we have? We have the Trump administration cutting all service personnel of this agency. We have the head of the Trump administration who's over this agency parroting Chinese propaganda, and all we are doing is ceding America's critical voice. We are the counterbalance in the world of democracy against China, against North Korea, against Russia, the Americans, the United States government. We are the voice. We are the voice of democracy. We are the voice that the world relies on for accurate information, just as Representative Kim implied in Iran. A member of the opposing party, this is Republican and a Democrat agreeing that the Voice of America is critical And you are gutting it, dismantling. If you had concerns, why don't you just fire the people who are giving information you don't agree with and hire some others? Why are you just throwing the entire agency out, ceding America's role in the world of information to the Chinese, our enemy of disinformation? You know, we have had multiple hearings of this committee, multiple, being very concerned over propaganda and disinformation that the Chinese are propagating in our country and throughout the world. And instead of stepping it up and fighting harder and bringing American might to the fight and the truth of what we believe in, we're saying, take it. You can have it all. We're just going to go away because we don't believe what we're doing anymore. And that is absolutely outrageous. We are ceding all of our soft power in the world to our adversaries because the Trump administration doesn't believe in accurate truth. And I just cannot for the life of me figure out why it is that you want to do it. It's just unconscionable to me. And unfortunately, I'm out of time. I yield back.
Maybe you should run for president. Because
I'm a member of Congress, and I'm very happy where I am. Thank you.
Okay. Well, because the president won with an overwhelming mandate. And the president has the right to put forth an executive order. And I have the duty to effectuate that executive
We have
order, and I'm
roles
doing
and
that.
responsibility of oversight as members of Congress, and that is exactly
have a
what we're doing. And
responsibility
I
to
don't
the
think the
American
president
taxpayer?
campaigned to cede all of American propaganda, all of American information to the Chinese. I don't think that that is exactly what he
Well, we're
ran
gonna
on. I don't
stop
think
the
that's what the
Chinese
American people
propaganda
voted
from
for.
being aired
So I
on
disagree
Voice
with you
America.
completely.
I can see
I
that.
guess my time is out. So thank you.